What's going on, everybody? So Friday night, probably won't get a whole lot of people watching live, but it's been a lot. It's been a quite a week for Bitcoin, news-wise on chart. I think a lot of people are unsure about what's going on. That's why I wanted to get up here and do a live stream and talk about how I see the market at the current moment. So I would say people are kind of cautiously bullish right now. The news, and then some of the, there's more green candles lately than red. But for me, the way I operate, I always say, what's the market doing? What kind of market structure is it forming? Is it a breakout? Is it a channel? Is it a range? We're clearly in a range. We've said that for a while, and we're at the top of the range. So when you're at the top of the range, if you're not seeing breakout type price action, then my bias is that it's going to swing down. And it may not go all the way down to the bottom of the range, but that's how you operate in a range. You buy in the bottom 25%, bottom third, depending on how you look at it. And you do the same thing at the top. You sell in the top quarter to third of the range. So, but then there's all this, the news. What about this? What about that? What about all these things going on? Well, I actually think that some of these things add to the probability of price going down a little bit because, Trump's in office now. So that's came and passed. He's in officially. The crypto, what he was going to do executive order wise, that's happened. So markets, they need something to look forward to. They need something. They need news. They need something to look forward to. When there's nothing to look forward to, that's when people stop kind of buying. Now, all these things that we're talking about, for mid and long term throughout the year, I think is extremely bullish. But we're just talking about right now, the short term. What's price going to do? Because people always want the breakout to happen. They want price to keep going up forever. You really don't want that. You want ranging periods in the market. Is the best thing for it, at least in my opinion. And looking at some other stuff now, this Cynthia Loomis, man, she is just really, she just posted this about 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, something like that. Posting herself with laser eyes, allow me to introduce myself. She been making some bullish posts recently, and so the executive order, it was good for crypto, but it wasn't a Bitcoin strategic reserve. She is going to try, I think it's obvious, she is going to try to head up a committee to push that bill for a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which is the better way to do it than doing it through an executive order. If you're not familiar with the United States, the executive order from a president, it is withstanding. However, when the next president or administration comes in, they can just do away with it. And if it's passed through Congress, it has a lot more chance of staying for the long run. Now, it's no guarantee that it will pass through Congress, but I think the odds are high, given that Trump's Republicans in office. The Republicans have the House and the Senate, so I think that the chances that it passes are fairly good. I think there's a little, this is something I started seeing today, and I saw more about it this evening, like actually just for the stream about 30 minutes ago. So this guy's Altcoin Daily posted, Jack Mallers confirms Ripple XRP is spending millions to undermine the strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is 5 minutes, so you guys can go check that out if you want. But Ivan on Tech reported on it this morning that XRP is trying to undermine the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And the founder commented on a post, the founder of XRP or somebody on the team said that they're trying to lobby for a crypto strategic reserve, saying like, no, it's not that we're against the crypto reserve. We're just, we wanted our Bitcoin reserve. We just want it to be all a crypto because XRP is a legacy crypto. So they would be probably one of the ones that would be in something like that. I'm not the biggest XRP fan. It's done well the last couple of months. So that's great. I'm happy for anybody who has it. But, they donated to Kamala Harris's campaign. And I think that Ripple wants the CBDC, and Trump, he signed an executive order banning that because I think Ripple wanted to kind of be the leader out in that. And, as far as Ripple fundamentally, I mean, they came out with a stable coin like a month ago or something like that. And I think that kind of undermines the the purpose of their own cryptocurrency, because they were supposed to be, just financial transactions between institutions and stuff like that. So they got a stable coin. Why do they need Ripple for? But I'm not here to FUD Ripple or anything, but just some of these things that are going on news wise. What's up, Walls? My right hand guy right there. Really appreciate everything you do, Walls. Danny the Bull. I caught most of the stream today, Danny. Always high IQ stuff as always. So if we're looking at what's going on, I'll take a little deeper look. In this line, it is basically at 106. 106, that is where resistance has said this is where we're going to stay. Because look, there's no close on a daily higher time frame, or weekly, above that level. That is the level to break. Now, on the weekly now, you see these things aren't accidents. Right here where these bodies of these candles are. So we want to at least close above that on the weekly. But either way, I still think that the odds are that the price will swing down some. Like I said, the news, there's still Solana ETF that still is be decided on. But the more I read about that, I think that they'll probably kick the can down the road on it, not reject it, only because the people in administration that have to make this decision, they just haven't had time. So, I think the Solana ETF is coming, but it may not come tomorrow or whenever the decision is supposed to be. So, the executive order stuff that's coming on, the bill from Cynthia Loomis, since it's going through Congress, that's going to take a while to play out. So there's a lot of bullish news, a lot of good things, definitely for the upcoming year in crypto. But for right now, I think that, like I said, I think it is. Let's look at some lower time frames. Go down the list. So the 4 hour. All right, you got a close. Nothing over here above 106. Over here. Let's keep going over. Yeah. Okay. So nothing. You barely got above 106 there, and little candles. Whenever you see that kind of like the little candle formation right at resistance or right at some kind of line, that's normally means it's going to go the other way. Here you got to close on the 4 hour above it, and you even got a follow through candle, but it didn't. The follow through candle didn't go above the high of that candle. But in any event, immediate selling and the daily closed below it. You had a close right there above it, but then immediate selling. You look wicking off of it there. Now the traders have obviously decided 106 is a level of resistance, and the more it touches it, the better. The more sell orders it takes out, the more people who wanted to short it there shorted it. And, the more times it comes there, they'll probably, and they don't get a good gain when it swings back up, they're less likely to short it again. Let's look on the hourly. Even on the hourly, it struggles to get a close above 106. This is the, right there at it. Here you got the one close wick, and then, it couldn't sustain. So, you've barely even, there's one right there, little candle. You've barely even got any hourly closes above 106. So 106 is, and that's what's been decided is an important level for Bitcoin, important price target. You're not getting closes on higher time frames there. So even though my bias is still to the upside overall, I think that until we break that level, until we've seen some kind of bullish price action going up there, we can go back and look at some previous like the previous market cycle and see what so look at some things or previous times where it had been ranging and see how the breakout look and stuff like that. I did find this interesting, just in BlackRock's ETF volume surpasses 1 billion in the first 2 hours of trading today. That's a lot. That's pretty significant. That's not a small number. And that's one of the biggest trading days, if I'm not mistaken. And then you got Marty Party, who is a really good follow on Twitter. Let me see if I can find where he had posted this. Excuse me one second. But he basically has showed on chain how Bitcoin, I think it's Solana and Trump coin even was being sent to Wintermute, which is a market maker. So he was saying that basically, they are suppressing the price. And I'm not the biggest like manipulation person, but if they truly were, if market makers are really trying to sell and hold the price down, and BlackRock's buying 2 million worth of Bitcoin, then that is something to note. I feel like. Yeah, I thought I had saved a bookmark the post, but yeah, he had posted about it that that yeah, basically it was on chain that the Bitcoin Coinbase, I think Binance too, was sending CBTC and, like I said, those other assets to Wintermute, like that the market maker was trying to keep the price from breaking out, and then the next day BlackRock buys 2 billion of Bitcoin. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the biggest person to scream manipulation, but I do think that is a little bit fishy. But overall, I would say it's probably bullish overall in the mid to long term. Is a double top on the daily, 3 days in the week possible? Yeah. So when you have, you got double bottom, double tops, that is like the definition of range. Like that's the hallmark of range when you get double bottoms and double tops. I don't know that it's going to swing all the way back down here to the bottom of the range. I mean, it could go here and go lower. I'd really be fine with that for a mid to long term basis. When we look back, like this just doesn't look like how a breakout goes out of a range. That was a good, nice long wick. Then you got, 2 bull bars, bear bar, 2 bull bars, decent sized bear bar, 2 bull bars, bear bar, 2 bull bars, and, so far the day's bear. So you're not stringing together any momentum. You're getting lots of overlap. I mean, this move from here to here was okay, but you're getting lots of overlap. You're getting lots of wicks. That's not typically what you see. Like, look at when it broke out of this range back here earlier in the year from the ETF, right? We were ranging here at 40K. This is a more similar situation now than over here. Well, we can look at this too when it ranged here. So this is about how long we've been ranging. This was here. We were here for like 7-8 weeks. That's about where we're at the current market price. But look at this. When you get this little consolidation here, and then look at these bars, you get this, and then after this, you know that you're probably going to at least come up and touch this, consecutive bars with very little overlap, not a lot of wicks. You get the third one, this one does have a little bit of a wick, but this is like what you want to see. This is breakout price action. Like this up right here, this is a breakout price action. The breakout from this long consolidation, you start seeing more like this. You start seeing like, okay, what's that? 5 out of 6, and they're all decent. You're getting fuller bodies, lesser wicks. Then you get a little consolidation, the same thing. And you'll start to see like these little like flare ups like this before it breaks out. And then, you get the here where it breaks above structure and closes on a higher time frame like the daily. So yeah, these are the kind of things you want to see to break out. You did get like a consecutive bear bars here, but it made a higher low, met by big bull bars. These are the kinds of formations you want to see. This looks so rangy. I don't like if it could pull back here, pull back from here, and then form like these kinds of patterns, like this. Once it finds a bottom, then that's what I want to see to think that it might break out of this range. Not this at all. That's not what I mean, maybe so, but and I had put out, I think last stream, that like maybe price could go here and then come down and form an inverse head and shoulders. Well, it can still do that just because it went to the top of the range. It could certainly come down here, to 92K and form an inverse head and shoulders here. I mean, this has been the cycle of the inverse head and shoulders. So many times we've gotten just inverse head and shoulders patterns, then break out and going to the upside. Fed meeting Wednesday should be interesting. Yeah, I saw a video today. I didn't save it for the stream, but Trump, he was asked about, because he said he wants rate cuts. And, he said, well, you think if the Fed will do it if you say it? And he said, yeah. So, and I talked about that in a previous stream, that just because they've said that last time that maybe rate cuts won't be as much this year, like 2 rate cuts or something, just the FOMC before that, they insinuated like a lot of rate cuts. So they can change their mind from meeting to meeting. It doesn't really matter. Guesstimate on alt season be full effect. Let's talk about that. I think I'll get into that a little bit later in the stream. But let's look at some other indicators that we like to look at. Speaking of alt season, check out BTC dominance. So this on daily, this is just, it's not really giving you any strong indication. You could say it's ranging, and I always say this is not a tradable chart. Still does seem to respect TA, but it's not a tradable chart. If I had to say, I guess it's forming a range here, and it would be at the top of the range, and it means it would go down. If Bitcoin goes down and BTC dominance goes down, then it doesn't necessarily mean alts are going to go up because BTC dominance goes down, but it will be good because the hit on alts won't be as bad. The total market cap will probably go down, but alts will probably just take a little hit, because if BTC were to take a big dump and BTC dominance go up, alts would just get slaughtered right now, and that's not what we want to see. But there's no real strong indication right here. This is somewhat of a level of resistance, 58 to 59 for BTC dominance. So we always want it to go down. That is what sparked off season every time in the past. I haven't seen any reason to think that it won't happen again. You had a nice strong move here in November of it going down. That could have been the start of it, because you get these moves down here, and then it did more keep going, but then it consolidated. So we could just have a longer consolidation, and then that could potentially mean the breakout to the downside would be even more so. This is what you want to see for the alt season, and we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen anything close. When you look at this over here, but this right here does look somewhat similar to this, to like a start of it, and you got that, and then this little consolidation here. That's kind of what we're seeing here. A little more of a pullback to the upside than what you got here, but it rhymes. So I think that this right here could be playing out over here, and we get that leg down like that. You guys know what's going to happen. Alts are going to blow up. Now, total 3. Speaking of alts, I don't see anything concerning here. Broke this level. This is the breakout point. Left this gap. Still leaving this gap. Ranging. No clear, indicator either way. So when there's no clear indication either way, and you're in a range, well, where are you at in the range? So if you're in the top of the range, then I guess you kind of expect to go to the bottom. That's what the probability is. If you're just kind of here in the middle, so not even the top third of the range, well, it could do anything. It could keep going up. It could go down. No real strong signal from total 3, and not a very strong signal from BTC dominance either. So last stream, I think it was last stream, I did talk about some things that, I wouldn't say bearish, but like some things that I would look at that I didn't want to ignore. One was USDT total market cap. Now, this is a great bull market indicator. And I went over this. This is the Luna collapse here, where you got that dump, and then this is the FTX collapse. And if you look at last bull market, this thing just went up, 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 up. And, so what we've been seeing, here. And so in the bear market, it didn't do that. The Luna collapse to the FTX collapse and I wrote, this is the breakout from the massive head and shoulders that got us out the bear market. So look at in here, the USDT total market cap from here to say here. It looks like shit. It looks terrible. It doesn't look like what you see the rest of the time when Bitcoin is going up. So, and what I wanted to bring up was that these bars, you're getting these bear bars, and that's unlike what you normally see. Is actually the biggest bear bar since the FTX collapse, and afterwards, even though they're not that big, but it has rebound from that. You're getting, you got some green bars, and this week will be green. I don't think anything's going to happen over the weekend for this. So that's good, but it's something I do refer to. I don't want to just be a perma bull, and I want to look at these things and make sure that, I'm I'm doing right. And another thing we looked at was DXY, the dollar value, because it was going up. And if you zoom out, it looked like it could very well go up and reach this high. It's closed above structure over here. I mean, where else is it going to go but up here? But it has gotten some really bearish follow through, especially this week. So that's great. It could be because of Trump statements. I don't know. It could just be testing the top of this range here, right here, see, and then get a reversal and still come up here and touch this high. That could certainly happen too. The dollar going down is always good for risk assets. We want the dollar to go down throughout this year. It'll definitely strengthen the bull market. But like I pointed out in this stream too, during this time here, it's November time here, when the dollar was going up, Bitcoin is still going up too. So just because the dollar is going up is not a death sentence for Bitcoin. Now, I always trying to look at a bear case. Sometimes I try to find a bear case, or if the market's bearish, I try to find a bull case. I don't want to just buy into the common sentiment that's out there on Twitter and the current herd thing. So I'm not an indicator person at all, but I do think indicators have their place. I normally don't look at them, but some indicators are kind of showing, I don't want to say warning signs necessarily, but this is a pretty bad RSI divergence here from here to here. I'm not an RSI divergence guy, and I think maybe because a lot of people who are posting bearish on Twitter, they just know how to look at indicators and they don't know how to read price action and market psychology. So maybe that's some of the reasons why they're saying they're bearish. RSI divergence, whatever. I mean, it's kind of went down and reset itself some. Just because it's got an RSI divergence, I wouldn't, take that to the bank. I've seen so many people get burned off making decisions off of an RSI divergence. They tend to play out eventually, but they can stay in certain ranges for a long time. And, it can be a divergence and price still keep going up for a very long time. And plus the market's ranging currently. So it's not really the best, indicators don't really work the best when the market is ranging. But, I want to point these things out. Another popular indicator is the Mcade, moving average convergence divergence. And now it's bullish, like it's got the crossover, it's above the zero line, but it's almost like too high. It's almost up here, when you look at, previous bull market, this was the high when the Mcade was all the way up here. So, the Mcade does look a little overextended. Once again, I don't make decisions based off indicators, but I know how to use them. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with referring to them. And then if you're going to use any indicator at all, I think the best indicator is the Ichimoku cloud. And the Ichimoku cloud is an all-inclusive indicator. So like if you're going off the Ichimoku, you just look at that. You don't even look at it. I mean, you can kind of add in the way the candles looks here and there, but you're not looking at other things. You're just looking at this. So, since about 30K, I think it is. Yeah, we broke out of the cloud turned green. So the cloud's been green. We've been staying above the cloud. That's good. We got a touch on the cloud here, but it hasn't even come close to the cloud. So I think this is just showing that it's a little overextended as well. But you want it bullish. I mean, you want it above the cloud. You want the cloud green. You want this. It's called the Chico span. You want that above the cloud. Or even above price. That can be bullish if it's above price even. There is, I think the indicators do show that some may be a little overextended, which I don't think that's anything like a market topping thing, but it could signify another swing down to the bottom of the range or even lower. Just keeping it honest or whatever. And those were on weekly time frames. Those what I just looked at. So the RSI, Ichimoku, and Mcade, that's all on weekly time frames. So higher time frames, just like with reading price action or anything else, the higher the time frame, the better luck you'll have using the indicator or whatever. So I want to look at Mcade because I know this is a lot of people's favorite altcoin. Follow and watch the streams. So Mcade has held up extremely well during this ranging period when a lot of alts have shown weakness. Mcade and TARS AI have both held up really well. I got this here showing this was the gap. This is the breakout point. This is where the wick came down to, leaving this gap here. So this is right where price is here, right here. We'll close that right there. Now that can be good, double bottom, but I don't like the way this leg looks. Consecutive bear bars. There's a wick there, but not a ton of overlap. That's not what you want to see going into a level of support. It just adds to the probability that it could break to the downside. I don't really see that necessarily, because it could be this pattern here, like a descending triangle. You have something like that, which would be fine. But we obviously want the bounce up. I don't really love the way those bars look. Just say it did break down, it could find support here at this breakout point at 0.02. I would say worst case scenario, it comes back to like here, like maybe the mid of this range of 0.13, somewhere like there. I'd say that's the worst case, but there's a few places that can catch it before that. Like I said, here, or maybe, somewhere around here. Mcade is showing great strength. It's got superior tokenomics to other gaming projects. The team is just always coming out with stuff. I talk about Mcade a lot. For anybody who hasn't watched it, they just came out with Q1 progress here just the other day. So go to 23rd, go to Mcade's page. I think I shared it. Probably it's on my Twitter page too. So yeah, but great stuff from Mcade. Like always, they're just always doing so much, always building. Just they're just doing so much more than all the other projects. That's no guarantee that you're going to be successful with the bull market, but I'd rather put my money on projects that are active and trying to do something than to just throw it on any old project and cross my fingers and hope that I get lucky. ARB. Well, so I look at ARB on chart. I can tell you my thoughts about it fundamentally. And I made a post about ETH, a thread about ETH recently. And, they're getting their ass kicked by Solana. Just is what it is. I think ETH can still go up and do okay this cycle, but they are just not competitive with Solana right now. Solana is cheap and fast and built on board normies. Like I said, it's cheap and fast. Ethereum's slow and expensive, at least in relative terms to Solana and these other things. And their answer should be layer twos, their answer to Solana. But Arbitrum, Polygon, Polygon's a side chain, but still, Blast, Optimism, ZK Sync, Manta, just dead. Nothing. The only layer two on base that's having anything happening on ETH is base, and it's being really weak right now. So ETH needs to show some strength. I don't blame it all on Arbitrum or Blast or Optimism or whatever. But the truth of the matter is these layer twos, they're not developing ecosystems. There's not a whole lot going on there. But technically on chart, Arbitrum, you find in a range here. What would be good to see is it forms an inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head. You could even say it's the right shoulder. I like it to be spaced out a little bit better. Let's see what the pullback is on fib. Okay, so you got a pretty deep pullback. Another thing you could say here, you could call it maybe a falling wedge that is forming, or a descending triangle. So we'll look at some of these options, see what maybe makes the most sense. So if it was this descending triangle and that plays out, then the measure move would be pretty big off of it. And that's the good thing about a deep pullback. If it forms some kind of pattern for traders to go off of. So it broke out from, just say right there, the measure move from it would be, $1.36. And you would take out the high there. So that would be a good, move for Arbitrum. I don't see anything definitive on chart right now. Let me look at the weekly. I'm not seeing any reversal signals, anything telling me like, hey, it's a good buy, it's a good reversal. You could say, it's from this range here. And if I was going to say the area you want to buy, it's where you see these wicks like right in here. So if you like Arbitrum for the bull market, you believe in the project and so forth, then it is in a good buying range. I don't see anything saying, hey, I think it's about to turn around, any kind of reversal signal. I also don't see anything saying, hey, I think it's going to break this level of support and come down and touch this low at 0.48. It's just doing what it's going to do for now, ranging price action, like a lot of these alts. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a good price now, Mcade. I think it has shown strength when other gaming projects are showing nothing, no strength at all. They are just nothing from these gaming projects. So they come out with a partnership with cornucopias today. I'm not too familiar with cornucopias, but I watched Ivan on Tech most days, and he was shilling and he liked the project. Look at Hash AI, sure. And I've talked about Hash AI a few times. I like Hash AI. I think that if you're gonna put some money in a AI project, I think it's a pretty good one. Like a lot of these alts, they're forming a range. So if you were going to say, like, what is a good price now, then I would say, yeah, anywhere in here is probably a good price given the current market structure. So even if you get used to buying in these lower ranges of these market structures, then if it does break to the downside, they normally come back and retest that structure, and at least you can get out with a smaller loss. And if you're just buying blindly, like chasing green candles and stuff like that, always see what kind of market structure is forming, and you want to buy in the lower part of that. So I think that it is a pretty good price to buy Hash AI. I might even buy some after the stream. I think I will actually. This is great if you would call this right here. This is, these wicks like this, they're really more like outliers. If you get them, that's great. You really have to have limit orders set to catch wicks that are that quick. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good, you're not getting any serious bear closes, not stringing a whole lot of bars together, got a lot of overlap wicks. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good place to buy Hash AI, and I think it's a good project. Hey, I just joined. Too long to read. Is it over? I feel like good news don't impact what means bear market ahead. Artificial pump for BTC. And I'm pretty big invested in Super and Beam, and it got nuked hard. Yeah, I saw Super did get hit hard. But no, I don't think the bull market's over at all. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is like potential Bitcoin price targets. With all this bullish news, I talked about earlier in the stream that if there's nothing immediate, like the Trump's in office, the executive orders coming on, I think it's, they didn't do the strategic Bitcoin reserve within that. I think it's obvious with the actions and the things that she's posting that Cynthia Loomis is going to head up some kind of bill where I think they are going to try to buy Bitcoin, but that is going to be something that's going to take a while to develop. Trump's speech yesterday said he wants the United States to be the home of crypto and AI. I think there's a ton of bullish catalysts, and sometimes, when you're in a mania phase and these things come, all these, like, you think it's going up forever. I just don't see that. Like, I don't see it on the charts. I don't see it from my experience. I just don't see, that's not how I see it. We were in this long ranging phase for 6-7 months. Then you get the breakout from it, a decent move from Bitcoin from the breakout, like 30%, 40% if you count up here. That's a great breakout for an asset the size of Bitcoin. And then it's forming another range. That's what you want to see in an uptrend. That's exactly what you want to see in an uptrend. When you zoom out here, and I'm going to talk about some of this a little more in depth when I look at Bitcoin price targets. But, based off, you look at this all, breaking out from the previous all-time high here. The market structure, it rhymes more than what you would think. When you look over here to the left and you look at some of this all over here, it rhymes more than what you may think. But you get in this a long consolidation above the previous all-time high. Basically, a price held up above the previous all-time high a lot here. and then you get a breakout, but not anything crazy parabolic. You got good news coming, but I think if the United States has the strategic Bitcoin reserve, other countries have been buying, other things like that, then I think the news will be kind of topped out. And sometime this year, there won't be any reason to continue to buy. At least, that's kind of what I see. And we will, but it needs to be more of a mania phase. We're not really at any kind of mania phase right now. I mean, some retail has come in the market. We're getting some like Coinbase and Robinhood. They're on the top financial apps, but not overall apps downloaded, because that can be a signal. But I also think maybe it's not the signal it used to be. Lark Davis, he did a video yesterday about is the top end, and he looked at just all kinds of different indicators and things that had marked tops before. It was a really good video. So I would definitely recommend anybody who's worried about the top being in to check out that Lark Davis video. Yeah, I'm sorry about super. I mean, this is how it happens. When all coin season happens, all those gains should be erased, and we should keep going. ERC AI, check it out real quick, and then we'll talk about some Bitcoin price targets. So let me see if I get a better chart on Dex Screener. Well, this is the weekly. Doesn't look the greatest, but come down here, kind of to the apex of that. Let's see what it looks like on the daily. Yeah, I mean, had a nice strong run up, pull back like you see with a lot of these projects. Seems to be finding a base. I would say buying here is it's a risk, but you could also be catching a bottom. I don't know a ton about this project. Market cap 2 million, liquidity 193. I mean, that's okay. I would like to see more liquidity to market cap. But 2 million market cap, the AI project, I'm not familiar with it, but if it's got any kind of fundamentals and it's an AI agent, then it could be, this is kind of showing some kind of bottoming here and finding some support right here. So I don't think it's the worst buy. Like I said, I don't know too much about it fundamentally. I don't know the tokenomics, but on chart, it looks like it could be a potential bottom. Now, I'm not seeing any kind of reversal, like something I see that, I think this is about to reverse right now. I don't see that, but when you want to get the best price and try to catch a bottom, that's the case. Lots of times you're just seeing that it kind of looks like a bottom. So I'll talk about some of the BTC price targets, because I think that, I'll explain kind of how I'm looking at this. So let me refer back to a tweet that I saw. I don't know, I think it was yesterday or today or something like that. And it's from an OG in the space, Rec Capital, pretty well respected, pretty good market analyst from what I see his stuff. So he talks about right here that just wanted to show this, that at some point he, 65 to 80% pullback in the bear market. Now, last bear market was 78% pullback. Previous two markets, I think, was right at 80% exactly. So 78 is slightly less, but not too much, right? So one way that I think you can kind of look at this, so let me go to monthly here, get a chart bigger. Now, the monthly chart looks good for Bitcoin. This monthly candle, monthly's almost over. This looks good. And a lot of people were saying this was a shooting star or something like that. They don't know what they're talking about. When you get the breakout from a range like this, the next candle, that's just more of an indecision, pause in the market. That's not, you want something like this over here and then something with a long wick. That's more of a shooting star. People just looking for any reason to be bearish. But the monthly does look very bullish. So something I want to talk about. All right. Whenever you get price going up out of a zone, the previous breakout point, like the previous high to the left, is an area of interest. So like, and this is it doesn't go back, but it's 2017. But the previous 2017 bear market, or the bear market previous to that, it did not go below the previous all-time high, nor in the bear market leading up to 2021 bull market. It did not make I'll tell you what, I'll go to the Bitcoin index chart real quick and I will come back to this. I got a lot of stuff written up here, but bear market low, COVID low. So this was the bear market after the 2017 all-time high at 20K. And this is 2013 all-time high. So, the bear market low did not come below that. But this is always going to be an area of interest for like any asset, any time frame. The breakout point to the left is an area you can look for whatever the pullback is. Is the pullback going to come to that, not to that, in relation to that breakout point? That is an important area of interest. So this last market bear cycle that we just got was the first time that you see the all-time high over here. We did go below the all-time high of the previous cycle slightly, but it did go below it. It was a lot of the perfect storm here, rates going up all year. You'd had massive inflation during COVID, printing so much money. The FTX collapsed, the Luna collapsed. Then you had Celsius, Voyager, all these other exchanges and things like that were just bad news, that whole bear market. So the reason I said all that was because the previous high from last bull market was here around 65 to 70K. All right. And I've talked about this a few times. I'm not going to go into it a whole lot, but like here, this high from 2017, it didn't give us much resistance the last run up because there wasn't much price history there. There hadn't been a whole lot, it was more of a blow off top to where here you had one all-time high. It stayed up here for a while. I mean, look, this is a monthly chart right here, but it stayed up here for a while and then had a 50% pullback. And remember that, had a 50% pullback within the bull market, then went up and double topped and spent some more significant time up here around this time. So it built up a significant price history and volume at this level last bull market. That's why when you got here, it was a lot harder to break through it. I mean, it looked great. Like you're consolidating more or less above the previous all-time high and right there, that market structure. And as I said, you didn't need to do that here. There just wasn't the price history there. So it didn't offer as much resistance. So you got all this price history from last bear market or bull market, at the highs. A lot of volume here too. Same thing here. Price stayed here for a long time. I mean, we're talking about 7 months, and that's on the month. It may even be more if you break it down, look at the weekly. 7 months here, and forming a top that it spent significant time out the market cycle before. The reason I'm saying all that is I think it's going to be very hard to break back through 70K to the downside. And this has nothing to do with a perma-bull bias or anything. It's because of the price history that's built up there. I mean, even when you didn't have much price history built up here, Bitcoin still barely just went below it. You'll see where this blow is on the wick. It didn't even get into these bodies down here on these candles. It's just, you can look at that breakout point as an area of like, okay, where do I think the market's going to come? Do I think it can come here? Is it going to go above it, below it? So let's just say it comes back to 70K during the bear market. Let's say that's the place it comes to, because I don't think it's going to go below. Anything can happen, barring a black swan. I'm not sure that Bitcoin's ever going to go below 70K again because of this price history. It's assuming we get a good run up. This is a proper bull market. I'm not wrong that it's topped out now. I just don't think that it's topped out now at all. I don't think it's anywhere close to topped out. So if someone put a line across the chart at 70K, close as I can to it anyway. All right. So, and say with the higher market cap, you're not going to get an 80% pullback. You can get a 70% pullback. Still a big pullback, but we're still going 10% less than Bitcoin has ever got before. Well, I know from playing around with the chart a bit already what that number is. And I talked about this on stream on Telegram. I think it's 230 Bitcoin. And that might seem like a lot. high price, and it is a high price. I do think it's possible this market cycle. I'm not saying I'm setting a limit order at 230, and then when it hits that, that's when I'm selling everything. I'm going to watch the candlesticks. I'm going to look at other things I look at to see where we are in the market cycle. But given the logic I just thoroughly explained, I think that 230 is actually a reasonable price target for Bitcoin. Now we're going to look at some other ones, because 150 is a number you're hearing a lot. You're hearing that's what I hear a lot of people say, 150. That's going to be the top. It might be, but so if we got 150 and we come back to 70K from there, that's a 50% pullback. Now I said, remember the number 50 when I looked at the last bull market, because you got a 50% pullback within the bull market. I mean, people are saying 30 to 50% pullbacks are normal within the bull market. So you're going to say that that's the bear market pullback. I mean, maybe it goes below 70. So in that case, say the 150, and say we get a 75% pullback, where would that take us? 37K. I'm sorry, I don't see that happening. I don't see it coming all the way down to it's not just the number as much as it's the price action history, because all in 40K has been a ton of price action in there too. So I just don't see that, and I think this is a way, looking at the potential bear market drop, to see what you could think. So say you don't even think it's going to come back down to 70. If it reaches 200, conservative 50% pullback, that could be like 100K. If you don't think we're going to go below 100K again once it moves up, that is reasonable to think, I guess. But soon it's going to come back to 70K, 65%. That could be. But once again, now you're getting a 15% less pullback than you've ever gotten in a bull market. And I know some of these things people can say, well, the ETFs and country adoption and all these things, and you didn't have that before. Well, the ETFs can sell. It's not permanent. They're less likely to sell than an average holder. Somebody just buying Bitcoin, or a trader for sure. But the ETFs can still sell, for sure they can still sell. And I think the things I just mentioned, I think actually point to having a pretty significant, like, on par bear market like we've had before. Because if you had the ETFs and you have country adoption, what is there to look forward to? I mean, I'm a little worried what's going to spark the next bull market, once it does come down and find a bottom. So I don't know, and I think, people speculate about MicroStrategy a lot, that at some point, like, what they're doing is leverage, and at some point they have to delever. I don't know. Michael Saylor doesn't seem worried about it. I know he's a really smart guy. He said Bitcoin could go down to $1 and it wouldn't affect what they're doing at all. So I don't know if that's true or not. I have looked into what MicroStrategy does, and it seems like, he's got it figured out. But I mean, we'll see. We definitely don't want because if Michael Saylor starts selling Bitcoin and MicroStrategy starts selling, it's not even so much the Bitcoin that they hold that's the problem. It's the signal that's going to send out to the rest of the market. I think it's fair. I've never loved anything in life the way Michael Saylor loves Bitcoin. So if he starts selling, that's going to be that's going to scare the shit out of people. Now, one thing that I think, if you look at last market cycle, and I said I was going to talk about this, if you say like this right here could actually have been this, because this was the low in the market. You had this bear market rally, was what it was at the time, which is what a lot of people thought this was. And timing wise, it kind of lined up. So maybe this was the bear market rally and whatever. I mean, this is similar. This was longer here. Yeah, that COVID dump, but say, that is kind of an outlier. So just say, going off last market cycle, once you got the real breakout, the like crazy trend in price action, call it just from right here, the top of this candle, to say the high of the market right here. So if you get that same kind of move, and say that happened here for the breakout, when you break out this range, because we're saying this was similar to this over here, it takes you to 380. I did it earlier and it was 350. So somewhere from 350 to 380. Now let's see what an 80% drawdown from that would be, or 70 to 80% drawdown. You're talking about like a 70, 75% in the range of 100K. So I know that sounds like a high number, but that would be basically the same. This move here, when you got the real breakout for the bull market, which we have not seen yet. This was a nice breakout, and this was a nice rally, but you had this nice rally here, and this was above a 100% move. So if this move mimics this bear market, this bull market, then that's the target. I'm not saying we're going to go to 380 for sure, but I don't think anything's out of the question. I don't count anything out. This chart doesn't go back to the 2017 market. I don't really want to go to the Bitcoin index chart and try to extrapolate something from that. So most people, and myself included, have said that this market cycle mimics more the 2017 bull run than the 21 bull run. But that was more of a long, extended uptrend with not as vicious of a pullback. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But these are some potential price targets for Bitcoin. On the thumbnail, I put 1 million. That's pretty much just clickbait. There's no way it's going to go to 1 million. So I actually looked at if it did go to 1 million, what would the pullback? So if you got an 80% pullback, 178, 180, something like that, it's not going to go to 1 million. I don't care what Larry Fink says or Michael Saylor says or anything like that. It's not going to 1 million. This market cycle. I think in the future, I think that Bitcoin can go to 1 million. But I do worry a little bit about if we spend all these great catalysts this market cycle, what's going to ignite it to have these massive rallies again. And it may just be more of a stable asset like gold. I don't know. But those are some reasons why I have those price targets. And I think I explained pretty well how I came up with those numbers and targets. I'm not a target setting guy. I don't, it's going to hit this and that's what I'm married to. I'm going to read the candles. I'm going to read the things that I look at and decide when the market cycle's over that way. I call the top of last bull market. I call the bottom of this bear market the exact top, the exact bottom. I got confidence in myself that I'll do it again. But it is fun to do these price projection things and look at things and have an idea. Because I do think that 230 is very in the cards. I do. I think that that's a reasonable target. I think it can sound a little over bullish saying it now. But if you look at what's the market going to pull back to, now maybe it is going to pull back to somewhere like 40K or something like that. So real quickly, let's see what a 40, let's see, it's I don't know. I'm just gonna pick a random number and go to 40K. So a little less than that. So 260 maybe. Even less than that. 240. 40K. Yeah, still. Let's say around 200. So if we hit around 200 and got an 80% pullback, that would bring us to 40K. And it's not that I don't think Bitcoin, the number 40K, that's just too low that Bitcoin can't go to again. The reason I say, it's like I explained, it's built up such a price action history here at the previous 2021 all-time high that I think it will be difficult to push through that. And especially if it goes up high and this is going to be at the bottom of a trend and you got this strong area of previous support or price action, I do think that it's going to be hard for Bitcoin to break below 70K again. That's not that it can't, but I think that it would be hard to if we continue to get continuation up and a proper bull market like we've seen in the past. I've shown what it would just take, 200K and the 80% pullback to 40K. I mean, because the only thing I think that 70K is would be a kind of over bullish is if you look at the last bull market low was 15K. This is about not even 5 times that. And if you look at the last bull market thing here, bear market low there, 3K-ish to 15K, the previous low. I mean, that's 5 times. So you're getting even less than that. But it's still in the ballpark. That still kind of rhymes with the low to low from bear markets if we hit 70K. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to kind of look at that and yeah. and do some price projections. On the thread I did about ETH, I did what I thought ETH would go to, and I think 12 to 14K is somewhere that ETH could top out at. If it moves up at all. I know people have been frustrated with ETH, but here's one of the problems with ETH. People are comparing ETH to Bitcoin, and they want the same moves of how Bitcoin has done for ETH. And to this point, from ETH's bottom to its top, it's went up, I think 370%. Bitcoin's went up 600%. So I actually think that's a pretty fair, like, relative comparison. But people, like I said, they're comparing ETH to Bitcoin. ETH is an altcoin. So if you look at other altcoins, major altcoins, ETH has really done better because it got to its all-time high or thereabouts in the range last March. So it did that before. Like other major alts like XRP, BNB, Solana, obviously, like they've all done good and they've approached their all-time highs and stuff like that. But just like ETH, they haven't broke above their all-time highs and went into price discovery. I mean, Solana's from its bottom to its high now, bear market low at $8. Yeah, it's massive. It's a massive gain, but it hasn't broke into price discovery and got it, firmly closed above its all-time high on a higher time frame and went into price discovery. Solana hasn't done that either. So if you compare ETH to other altcoins, it's actually done okay. The only major altcoin that I saw in like the top 20 that has went into price discovery was Tron. Like other ones have done okay and they've gotten in the range of that. Some of them haven't gotten even close to their previous all-time highs. ETH has got in the vicinity of its all-time high. It just can't break through. The thing that worries me on chart with ETH is it's not stringing any momentum together. Throughout a whole year on a weekly time frame, they only put 3 consecutive bull bars together twice. And 3 of one time they were like real small and weak. So it's like the sustained momentum that ETH hasn't been able to sustain. Like they haven't been able to sustain any momentum. And then the layer 2s have just been underwhelming. Like I talked about earlier in the stream, they just haven't done very well. Besides base, and base is getting pretty much a lot of base projects aren't doing well at all right now. So anyway, if nobody has any more questions, I talked about everything that I had written down and notes, talk about it on the stream, and I hope everybody got something out of it. If anybody's got a question, put up there real quick. I'll look at a chart or something. If not, then I'm going to go ahead and log off. And if anybody wants to join my Telegram for the rest of January, it'd be $325 for the rest of the year. We do a whole lot up there. That's when I'll tell you when I'm selling all my stuff. We got NFT guys, an ICT trader guy puts out daily TA on assets and stuff like that. Last year I'm going to do it. So anybody interested in that, hit me up or hit Danny the Bull up, and we'll get you squared away with that. Other than that, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next stream later.